How do you stay creative during the entire process of UGC or whenever you are a UGC creator? Let's talk about it. So, as you may know or imagine, if you worked maybe with social media previously as a content creator or as a UGC creator, you're kind of expected to remain very creative, to try new ideas, to generate new ideas, and to always bring something new to the table. And although I feel like people who are getting into this field are generally very creative, very fun, and they know how to generate these new ideas, it can still become very overwhelming. You can still feel a little bit of pressure. You can still feel a little bit burnout because sometimes you really can't think about new ideas that fast. So, of course, just to help you out, I also wanted to share a few tips that help me to stay creative and not overwhelmed, or maybe at least a little bit less overwhelmed in general. So for the first tip, I always follow the creators that I feel inspired from. And I don't say that just copy their content and their content ideas. No, I feel like just getting inspired, just getting little bits that maybe you didn't think about and recreating it your own way could be a way to generate new ideas. But I also feel like you need to be very careful with that, because a lot of times we see and consume a lot of this content and it makes us feel a little bit bad about ourselves, that maybe we are not in the same point of creativity. Maybe we couldn't think about these ideas ourselves. Maybe we're not that good at editing, etc. So I feel like you should always be very careful and feel when to stop and follow the creators who you really aspire to be. And instead of being jealous, try to be happy for them and their success. Now, another tip is keeping on top on Pinterest and TikTok. I feel like TikTok is the main platform where all the trends emerge, and it's impossible not to see them. It's impossible to miss them, to be honest, because they're really fast, they're rapidly changing, right? But it's also a platform where we can get inspired. So I feel like while I don't recommend jumping on that trend train completely 100%, I still would recommend looking at the trends and kind of recreating it in your own style. So that helps you to maintain your own authenticity. The same goes with Pinterest. I feel like Pinterest is great for lifestyle pictures, inspiration. If you're asked to do any lifestyle picture, Pinterest is just literally a board of ideas of different things you couldn't even think of. And besides that, of course, we have our lovely ChatGPT. So if we want any ideas, we can also ask it, and like, of course, not follow it 100%, not copy it 100%, but just to get some inspiration and some creative juices flowing. What I also do to stay on top of this industry is basically when I see a new trend, when I see a new video editing idea, I also try to recreate it myself. This is useful for me at least, and that's worked for me because I try to edit, I learn new skills, I try something new, something more creative, something out of my comfort zone, and of course I improve over time. And if a brand, let's say, reaches out and asks you to do a certain trend, you already know how to do it, or edit a certain way, you already know how to do this and that. So I feel like experimenting and playing with editing is also very important in this field specifically. So of course, keep experimenting, stay curious, explore everything. Explore even TikTok's trend section or the content idea section. And lastly, and most importantly, remember that you need to take breaks. Remember that you need to recharge and come back with a fresh head. So don't forget that. Don't overwork yourself, because of course it's going to be harder to come back with very great fresh ideas if you're overworked and burned out.